In this video, I made a gun that shoots physical bullets. So I put force on the bullet, actually linear velocity, but you get the idea. You could see the bullet when you shoot it. Let me get closer because I'm kind of a boomer. Boom, right? And you can see I slowed it down so you could see it. You don't have to have it that slow. And I made it yellow too, so it's easier. Sweet. And I put a little turn on him, so it looks like a little bit like a gunslinger. Brah, there we go. Oh, one shot. Oh, you almost died. Nice. Let's go ahead and get started with our gun that shoots physical bullets. Before we jump into our content, I want to give a shout out to Southern New Hampshire University for sponsoring this video. SNHU is a fully accredited nonprofit university offering affordable, flexible programs in game development. Personally, I'm a big fan of online learning because it lets me dive straight into what I'm interested in without the hassle of commuting to a campus. If you're thinking about a degree in game development, value flexibility, and want to focus on learning rather than logistics, you'll love that SNHU has game development degrees that are entirely online. Check out the link in the description to see what I'm talking about. SNHU offers 2 online bachelor's degrees in game development, a Bachelor of Arts in Game Art and Development, and a Bachelor of Science in Game Programming and Development. Can you succeed as a game developer without a degree? Absolutely. But if you're looking for structure and guidance to take your skills to the next level, definitely check them out. I have an empty base plate right here. There's nothing in my world. I'm going to go to the toolbox and then let's get mesh parts, right? We'll get something that looks like a gun and then program it to do the things we want. So I'm going to search for pistol under recent searches, or you can just type it in, right? Pistol. And this is the one I used in the demo. I liked it. So One Lost Waffle created that. And this is going to be really big. We need to resize it. So I'm going to get the avatar, go to the avatar tab, I should say, rig builder, R15 or R6, whichever you like, right? I'll do R15 my rig. And now we can size our gun better because we know what we're going to look like size-wise in the world. Let's go back to the home tab and then I'll hit scale. We're not going to scale the rig though. We're going to scale the mesh part. Sweet. And if you click on this, down in the lower right, you could see scale uniformly. If I hold down the Alt and I shrink this down, it should scale uniformly. Let's just kind of eyeball it. We'll move it into the rig and then we can fine tune the size. So this is actually going to be the handle of a tool. So we got to make a tool. Let's go to workspace, hit the plus, hit a T, look for tool and find tool. I'm going to call this projectile pistol. I'm going to move my mesh / pistol into the tool, the projectile pistol. I'm going to rename this to handle. Nice. Now let's get the projectile pistol, drag it into the rig. And we're going to have to do a little bit of manipulation of the grip. First thing we want to do is make this point in the right direction. So with the projectile pistol selected, let's go ahead and open it up. Not the handle, but the tool itself. Come on down here in the properties, look for grip orientation. Now, you might have to play with the different numbers because different mesh parts are going to be oriented differently on the X, Y, and Z. But this one, I would start out in the center, the middle number, the Y, and I'm going to make that -90 to see what happens. And that's what I got. So you might have to try the X or the Z, but it shouldn't be too difficult. Now, this pistol is too big. Let's go ahead and try and shrink down the handle a little bit so it's more manageable. Select handle, all right? And now we're going to do scale. And then I'm going to hold down my Alt. I'm going to hold down the right mouse button, shrink this down a little bit. That's not bad. All right, let's see. I'm going to make it a little thicker, I think. I'm just going to get the blue. I'm not going to hit the Alt. I'm just going to make it thicker. Maybe bump that out 1. Maybe bump that out 1. That's pretty cool. It's a little more Robloxy. I'm going to change the color so I can see where his hand and the gun handle are kind of different. So on the handle, I'm going to go to medium stone gray. Now not all mesh parts will allow you to change color, but this one will, right? So let's go ahead and make it. The gray is not bad. Let's make it shiny though. Let's go to material, and then we'll do metal. Cool. And I'm just going to move this down a little bit. And I'm going to go to the projectile pistol because we're going to do grip position movement. Not moving the handle, but altering the grip position. I'm going to try the X, right? I'm just going to try and change it by like 0.1, see what happens. Nope, nothing. It probably changed this way. Let's do a Control Z. Now that I see that it's not changing at all, I realize it's a Roblox glitch. It's easy to get around. When you change the size of a tool in the hand of a rig, it doesn't update when you go to do the grip position. So move it to the workspace. See, I drug it up there to the workspace, so it's out here somewhere, right? And now I'm going to drag it back down to the rig. And I see that something has changed. Let's go back to that position on the tool, projectile pistol tool, grip position, and then on the X. Let's try a 0.1 on the X to see where that moves to. It went up, so we went negative. Let's go with like 0.5, 0.5, right? That's not bad. Let's see what else happens. You can do a lot more fine tuning with this. For the video, we're going to keep it kind of coarse, right? So how about on the Y? What happens if I do a 0.1 on the Y for the grip position? Moved back. Now your gun might be moving differently if you didn't use the same mesh. How about a negative 0.01 on the Y? That's pretty good. Let's try it out with our player and see what it looks like. There's definitely some fine tuning like that. That handle is sticking up out of his hand. You could try and move that down or change the gun size, but I'm all right for now for the video. Let's drag it into the workspace, the projectile pistol tool. There it is. We want to make sure it's not too far away from our player. We'll go to test it out. We'll hit the play. There's the pistol. Let's pick it up. Yeah, not that bad. Sticking outside of his hand a little bit. There we go. Looking good enough for now, right? For our coarse adjustment. Let's continue on with building our pistol. I'm going to stop the game. Now we're going to need to make a bullet for our gun. So on the Home tab, I'm going to go to Part. I have Sphere selected, and I think you should start out with a sphere. You can make a fancier bullet once you get all this working. My part's down here. I am going to click on it and call it Bullet so I don't lose it. And then I'm going to make this yellow for troubleshooting so I can see the bullet when it's flying. So for brick color, open that up. Maybe get some new yellow there. That's easy to see. Material, I'm going to make it metal. Let's go down here. There we go. I'm going to close this rig. And then I'm going to drag my bullet into the projectile pistol. All right, now that bullet's really big. Let's change the size of that. Let's go to size and we'll say how about 0.15, 0.15. It's tiny now, bullet size. And I'm going to put that bullet inside the pistol. You may want to switch this over to server storage at some point, but for now, I think I'm going to keep everything together. So I'm going to go to the handle of the pistol. I'm going to get the position. So let's get the C-frame position of the handle for our pistol. How about a Control C? We'll go to the bullet, get the C-frame position. Where is it? Oh, it's already there. And then Control V. That's going to plop the bullet right inside as long as your collisions are off. If they're on, you might have to do it again because it might have like gone to the side of it or something. Sweet. Now, I think I'm going to drag that bullet down here right at the end of the gun. I'm going to make it invisible, and I'm going to clone it and make it visible when I shoot. So let's get our move tool. This should be centered in the gun. Let's move that up a little bit. And you may have to change your stud snaps in order to get this just right. There we go. How is that? Oh, a little bit off center. Sweet. That'll work. Nice. Let's weld that to the gun and make it invisible. So on the handle, handle the gun, hit the plus, hit a W for weld constraint. Just be careful with weld constraints. If you have explosions, they can break, right? Which could break your gun if you're too close to the explosion. Keep that in mind. So weld constraint that. Part 0, and make it handle. How about part 1, make it the bullet. Cool, so the bullet's stuck there. I'm gonna make the bullet invisible for now. So hit that bullet, and let's look for transparency. That's up near the top. There it is. Transparency 0, that means it's opaque. You can see it. If transparency is 1, you cannot see the bullet. Sweet. What other kind of things are we going to need on this bullet? Well, let's see. I selected the bullet. I'm going to hit the plus. AT attachment shows up. I'm going to need that. Right? I'm going to need that for the linear velocity of the bullet. I'm going to call this ATT0. It's just my convention I use for linear velocity when I go to use an attachment with linear velocity. For the bullet, hit another plus, and then we're going to add linear velocity. Cool. Click the linear velocity, go down, look for a attachment 0, select that, and then hit ATT0. All right, that's looking pretty good. Let's add a couple more things. Hit the plus, and we're going to need a script, right? The script is going to be called bullet damage. And what else? Let's go back to our world. I'm gonna put a creator tag on there so that the player is stored in the bullet. The player that shoots the gun with the bullet is going to be stored on the bullet. This will be good for keeping track of kills and deaths, but also you don't want to hit yourself. And you may want to put team stuff on your bullet too. You're going to need the player who shot the bullet. So I'm going to get an object value, and then this is going to be my creator tag. Let's go ahead and call that creator. That's the convention to name it lowercase creator. And we will put the player right in there when we shoot the bullet. Now, if you play this game now, you're going to get something funny. I'm going to show you. Hit play, and look at the gun hanging in the air like that. What happens if we grab it? It's okay if we grab it, but the reason it was kind of dangling like that is that linear velocity is taking effect on the gun. So let's click on that. It wasn't strong enough to mess us up, but let's turn it off. Enabled off, right? And then we'll turn it on when we shoot the gun. Also, our bullet script, we're going to do the same thing. Let's go ahead and click that and then go enabled off. So my linear velocity enabled is unchecked, and bullet damage is unchecked for enabled. Let's go ahead and get a sound for our gun. You're going to need that, right? Let's see. Home, toolbox, audio. How about pistol shot? Let me move my mouse so you can see it. Pistol shoot. That'll work. Oh, look at that. Pistol shoot. Sounds good to me, right? Let's put that on the handle so we'll get a sound roll off on server side. Everybody can hear the shot. Hit insert, and I'm going to rename this pistol shoot to bang. There we go. I'm going to close this toolbox for now. Let's add a few more things to our projectile pistol. I'll go ahead and click on it, and then we hit the plus. I'm going to add a local script. Right, there we go. I'll call this shoot, and you can pick whatever naming convention you want. That's what I pick for local scripts usually. And then it's the plus, and then we're going to get a server script. Server scripts are just called script. And I think I'll call that damage, although I'm going to do more than damage here. I'm going to apply the forces of the bullet here too. Now these two scripts have to talk to each other. I'm going to hit that plus. I'm going to hit an R, and then I'm going to get a remote event. Right? What's a remote event going to do? It's going to be the gateway from the client to the server of my weapon. All right, let's see. Let's call it shoot RE. Let's go ahead and do our local side stuff first, right? The client stuff. Shoot. So get the shoot script, double click it, open it up. It looks just like damage, so be careful. Make sure it's the shoot. And let's get a variable for the gun. Local gun equals script.parent. And then we'll get a variable for our remote event, shoot RE. That's going to be on the gun. So we have gun, wait for child. You should see it there, shoot RE. We need more. Let's get a variable for the player, but we'll just initialize it to nil for now. And then we'll get a variable for the mouse, initialize that to nil. And I'm going to use a connection. I'll show you what that's for in a second. I want to make a function, local function on activated. So when we click on something, right, on activated, we are going to get our shoot RE and fire server, right? Or it's going to say it's going to make a bullet and then shoot the bullet out at what we clicked on. So we're going to need the mouse target, but we also need the position that we clicked on, right? So we have this mouse dot hit dot position because we want to send the bullet to the position, not just the target that we hit. If the target's really big, it's going to be off. It's going to look funny. You know what? I think that's all we need here. Let's go down a little bit, and then we'll get the gun, which is the tool, right? And equipped is going to fire when you take it out of your backpack or you pick it up. I will say connect. Just use an anonymous function there. We're going to get our player. I will say game players, and you could do local player on a client-side script, a local script, right? And then we'll get the mouse. Well, on the player, you have colon, remember not dot, colon, because it's a method. There's a get mouse. Now let's go ahead and make a connection to our on activated function. So when I click on something and the gun is equipped, we want this to fire, right? We want this on activated to fire if I have the gun in my hand. So I'm going to get this connection variable. I'm going to say gun.activated. That's the event. We'll connect that to the on activated function. This is just the function name, not the two extra parentheses. And the reason I'm using this variable here is because, let's copy this and save some typing. I'm going to do a Control C, go down, Control V. We are going to have an unequipped event fire when we put the gun away. I'll say unequipped. Oh, it added extra stuff here. And then I'll just make this player nil. About that. We can make the mouse nil again. We're putting the gun away, so we don't need these variables out there. And then this, well, I want to clean up some of my resources. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect that activated. Disconnect. Saves a little bit of resources. If you don't do that method, that's fine, right? That's fine. But I think this is a better way of doing it. Sweet. All right, now we're not really going to see anything happen. You could put a print statement here. Let's do that. Let's print out the target. Say print. Say target. How about that? And I'm going to do mouse.target.name. All right, let's hit the play button. And we want to make sure we don't have any errors. I'll go to view output. There's a hello world. That's from our damage script. We haven't done anything with that yet. Let's pick this up. And then I'm click on the spawn location. Oh, look at that spawn location. That's cool. So this seems to be working. Old cowboy hat, or is it going to be handle? Oh, it's handle. It gets the handle for the accessory. Sweet. Upper torso. Here's a hand. Yeah, right hand. Good. This is working. No errors. All right, we'll close this. Turn this off. I am done with this shoot. I'm going to move over here and start working on the damage. We're going to need some variables here, and some of them are going to be the same as on the local side, the local script. So we'll do local gun equals script.parent, and then I want to get a reference for my shoot remote event, shoot RE, equals gun, wait for child, shoot RE, and what else? How about the bang sound, right? Bang. That's on the gun. And, ooh, we put that on the handle, didn't we? Handle. We do wait for child. Sure, why not? Wait for child. Bang. Bang. There it is. What else? Ooh, we need the bullet, right? But this is going to be the template from which all bullets are going to be made. We're going to clone bullets as we need them. So I'll say bullet, template, gun, and let's do a wait for child for that. Wait for child, bullet, And let's get the debris service, right? We're going to have to clean those bullets up. You can't have thousands of bullets floating around in our world. It'll slow our game down. So game get service. And we got the debris service down here. Let's make a function called on shoot. And the player will get passed in. Remember, we're going to use on shoot from the client side. We're going to connect that to our server side, which is damage. And we're passing in the target and the position. Remember the mouse hit position? All right, let's do the bang first. Let's try that out. So bang, play. Right, that's nice and simple to test it. All right, shoot RE on server event, and then connect to the on shoot. So this is going to capture that remote event from the client side, from the shoot script. And then it's going to fire this off right here. So if we go to play it, when we click on things, we should hear bang. You might want to test that now. Right, let's go ahead and do it. Yeah, there we go. Doesn't do any damage, no bullets yet. That's all right. We'll get that. Close this, close that. Go back to your damage script, and we're going to add stuff right here. I'm just going to do a if statement right here to make sure that the position actually exists before I try and calculate something with it, in case there's like a nil that comes over. So if position, then let's get our bullet. Let's clone a bullet. We'll say bullet. We have our bullet template, clone, and we need to set a parent. So bullet.parent equals, let's make it the workspace. I'm going to just move this up a little bit so we have more room to code. And then what else? Because this is going to be fast acting, let's get the network owner of the bullet. So we'll say bullet set network owner. We're going to play this on the client side because they know when they clicked and they want to see the bullet right away. So we won't wait for it to propagate out to the client. We're going to play it on the client side. That's the network owner. And then we'll do bullet. How about creator value? Right? Remember, we have that creator script or the creator tag in there, the object value. We are just going to stick the player in there. And then you could check to see if it's you, so the bullet doesn't hurt you. And you could also check teams and stuff like that. And you could do the kills and deaths leaderboards with a creator script. So you'll need that. Let's get a direction, right? So local dir will be the direction between the position that we clicked on and the bullet dot position, right? And then let's make it the unit vector. It's just of length 1. We just want the direction. And now for the bullet dot position, I'm gonna move that down that line just a little bit. So we're gonna take the old bullet position, and we can do a plus equals the direction. It's just gonna move it 1 stud down that direction so that when you clone it in space, it's gonna pop out 1 stud away from your gun. Reduce your chances of running into it, but you still will run into it, but that's okay. I have a solution for that. Now the bullet transparency should be set to 1 so that we can 0 so that we can see it, make it opaque. It is 1 right now. Remember, it's invisible. And then we'll get the bullet, and then we're going to have the bullet damage script, right? Bullet damage. That's the script. And we're going to enable that. It doesn't do anything yet, but we want it to do stuff. Now let's get our linear velocity. There's a linear velocity on the bullet. Let's take a look at our bullet right down here, right? So we have our bullet. We just enabled that script. Let's get this. Let's call it, how about LVEL for linear velocity. Bullet dot linear velocity. That's a reference to the linear velocity. We are going to set, how about the max val or LVEL linear velocity. Let's get a max force, and I'm going to make that math.huge. So apply as much force as you need to get something moving. And then let's get our LVEL. What else do we need? Oh, we need to enable it. Remember, we turned it off because the gun was dangling in the air because it was hanging onto the bullet and it had the linear velocity on it. So we'll make that true. We'll get our LVEL. Vector velocity. And this is how fast the bullet's going to go and in the direction. Well, we have a DIR. Let's go slow with the bullet first so we can see it. So 50 is slow. You could see it. 200 would be pretty good for the game. And then maybe we'll wait, I don't know, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. You want to do that? Let's do 3 seconds maybe. 3 seconds. We'll get the bullet. We'll set network ownership to auto for the bullet. And we probably don't need that, but I'll leave it in there anyway. We are going to destroy the bullet. Clean up the workspace. So I guess I did not need the debris service, right? Because I just did the destroy right here. I was planning, I should have just put the debris. It doesn't matter. Let's get rid of this. One less line of code, right? Boom. You do either way. Let's try this out. The bullet's not going to damage. I want to see if everything works good though. Let's hit the play, view output. Let's go over here. Click. Yeah. Oh, look, it knocked him back a little bit too. Let's put some damage on it. Right? You can make the bullet can collide equal to false too if you don't like that little, because it's not really realistic the way it moves back, right? Or you could put you could transfer the linear velocity to whatever you hit, but that's going to be a longer video. Let's turn this off. Let's close this. Let's do our bullet damage now. Where is that at? Oh, here it is. On the bullet, we have this disabled script, bullet damage. Let's get rid of our print statement on our bullet damage. And we're going to reference for our bullet. Bullet equals script dot parent. And then the creator tag, right? Remember, that's on our bullet. So we can say bullet, and then underneath there, maybe a wait for child, creator. Nice. And then let's get a debounce. Right? We don't want the bullet damaging multiple times. We only want it to damage once per hit. So debounce, I spelled bounce wrong. Debounce equals true. I'm going to make a random, how about a random call for damage, a random amount of damage. So I'm going to get a variable RND and set that to our random object, right? A new random object. And then I do a damage, how about min, say 20, right? And then maybe we'll do a damage max, say you want to do 100 or maybe 120. Yeah, might as well. And then we'll get our bullet touch. So when the bullet touches something, we are going to connect to this anonymous function. The other part is going to get passed in. That's the part that touches the bullet. So not the bullet, but the part that the bullet is touching. Let's check to see if there's a humanoid associated with that part, like a hand or a foot or a torso or something, right? So say other part parent, wait for child, humanoid. So if that was like his arm, the parent would be the character. And then if it was a character, there'd be a humanoid in there. Let's not do wait for child. That's a terrible idea. Let's do find first child. Find first child. Otherwise, every time you hit something, you're gonna hang. You're gonna get a indefinite yield, right? So find first child. That way, if it doesn't find it, it's gonna return nil to the humanoid. So let's check if the humanoid has something. Then we'll check to see if the parent dot name does not equal creator dot value dot name. We don't want to hit ourself, right? And then also if the debounce is good. So we'll say, and the debounce then, right? Make sure the humanoid exists. There's a humanoid, so we can do damage. Make sure that the humanoid's parent, which is a character, is not us. So the player name and the character name are always the same in Roblox. That's why I didn't bother getting the player right here. I just got the character name, but it's going to be all right, right? And then the debounce. We want to make sure the debounce is good. When we get in here, let's turn the debounce off so it can't get fired again, right? And then we'll do some damage. We'll calculate the damage we want to do. How about local damage, rand, and then I'll say next integer. We'll get our damage min to damage max, right? So it'll give us a random value between, 20 and 120. We'll get the humanoid, we'll do a take damage, and then pass in that damage value. Nice. Think that's good. So now we should be able to do some damage. Let's play it, see what we got. Hit my play button, pick up my weapon, and we'll come over here. Boom. Oh, look at that damage. Now, if I'm facing this way, here, let me do it. I don't want to hit myself. So it didn't damage myself. That's good. That way, if you're running into it, there's going to be like a split second where you could run into it. It doesn't look like it because network ownership is set to the player. But on the server side, this is going to hang for a split second. And if you're running, your hand will hit it, right? More often than not. Sweet. Look at that. A little bit of a kickback on it. That's not bad. Let's turn this off. We can make that go faster. You want to make our bullets faster? So right in here in the damage script, right? Right there. Make it like 200. And now when you play, you might not even be able to see it. Right? Here we go. Yeah, you can barely see it, right? Sweet. All right, now I want him to turn real fast. So if I shoot over here, I don't want that event where I don't want him facing this way and shooting this way. Oh, you know what? We shouldn't have turned our speed down so quickly because now we can't see our bullet. All right, you know how to do it, right? You know how to turn the speed on and off. So let's go ahead and make that 50 again on the damage script so we could see it. Cool. And now we need to flip the position when we shoot. We want to face real quick. We want to face real quick in the direction we're shooting. I'm going to make my player turn towards the position he's shooting in the damage on the server side script. So when we get a position and the position exists, we could do something like turn to face. All right, and then I'll say position and then player.character. Let's get the character. That'll work. Now this is red because we don't have a turn to face. Let's add that above on shoot. So I'll say local function turn to face, and we're going to want the position and the char. I'll just call it char. That's the character. All right, we're going to need the humanoid root part. So we'll say local HRP char find first child humanoid root part. And then if the HRP exists, just in case something weird happens, we want to turn to the position that we're firing in, but if we shoot up, we don't want to fall backwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say local, how about flat position? We'll only worry about the X and the Z. And I'll get a vector3.new, and I'll say position.x, and then we'll get the HRP's original position. So HRP position.y, and then maybe position.z. I'm going to move this to the next line so that you guys can see it. You can keep that all on one line, but I just don't want to, I don't want to move this. And then you wouldn't be able to see it. All right, now the direction, we're going to get the direction vector, but the flattened direction vector. How about local dir, and then we'll get our flat position, right, minus the HRP position, and it's going to be just the direction, not the magnitude, so we'll make it the unit vector, so it's the vectors of length 1 or power 1. We'll do local, how about look, C-frame. We'll get the C-frame. I probably should do a pivot, right? The set pivot, get pivot, set pivot. That's all right. I'll do it old school, right? C-frame new, HRP position, and then we're going to get the HRP position. There it is, plus the DIR, right? So this is where the C-frame is going to be positioned, right where the humanoid root part is already, right? We're not going to move them around on the world. We're just going to have them turn. And the second value is the direction that they're going to turn, right? That they're going to look. All right, let me see. One more line of code. Now all we do is get the HRP C-frame, and now we'll do our look C-frame. That should work. That should make us turn quickly. And the bull's going to be slow, so we'll be able to see it. There we go. All right, he's behind me. Boom, flipped around. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that look. Boom. He's like a gunslinger. He's fast. All right, that's pretty cool. I think we're up and running. Let's check their view output. Make sure we don't have any errors. All right, I will see you in the next video. Now you have a projectile gun.